Welcome everybody to another JDM racing video in my team for F122. We're at round 5, Miami in the United States of America. There's us in the garage, about to embark on qualifying 1. And as we get into the throes of qualifying, we're going to see how we do across the session. Qualifying, it was fairly decent. The car was running pretty well in the dry, and the problem we had was that the qualifying setup was going to have to be either heavily dry based or with one eye on the race, which apparently was going to be wet. So we went with a dry leaning setup to try and give us good position and help us getting into a decent position for the race, and then hopefully hold some of the guys back in the wet. That was the plan. Let's see if it pans out. Oh no!
Welcome to the Miami International Autodrome, home of the Miami Grand Prix. This exciting track circumnavigates the Hard Rock Stadium, home to the National Football League outfit, the Miami Dolphins. Well, it's certainly not sunny here in the Sunshine State. A lap of the Miami Grand Prix features 19 corners and 3.36 miles of track around the Hard Rock Stadium. But these conditions should prove especially difficult for all of our drivers today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Lando Norris and Russell, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Magnussen and Gardner, Bottas, Gasly, Guan Yu Zhou and Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, Stroll, Albon, Vettel and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davison is alongside me today, nice and dry up here in the commentary box. How are you, Ant? Looking forward to this race?
I'm very well, thank you. Forgot my umbrella on the way up to the box, so I'm a little bit soggy, but I'll dry out soon enough. It's going to be an interesting race in this weather though. Obviously your strategy changes completely once it starts raining, as overtaking is a lot easier in the wet. The focus moves away from pure aerodynamic efficiency and tyre management, and of course the driver themselves can always make more of a difference in these conditions than they can in the dry.
So on a really good lap, at the end of qualifying 3, we end up binning it into the wall. No damage, but the only damage was to my pride, and that's extremely unfortunate because we were over a second up on our previous time. So I mean, that could have, I mean, a second is a lot of time in F1, so we could have been easily within maybe the top 5, and just a real shame because the car was really good. So we'll take that as a learning experience and come into the race, try and keep the guys behind and look to get some points, because we still haven't managed that since the first 2 Grand Prix. So this is the mission today, is to try and get points for the 3rd time in the season. Let's see if we can do it. Back.
You're pushing too hard. It's causing your gearbox to take increased wear. Just be careful.
A little tussle with K-Mac there. Dropping off the back of Alonso into Magnussen. No DRS because it's too wet. He doesn't need the DRS. Ferrari as well, but maybe they've done a few more upgrades to it.
Okay, clear.
Now we've got Daniel Ricciardo trying to get down the inside onto turn 1. Hamilton's still stuck down there in the Mercedes as well. Danny Rick up against the wall a little bit. He's too fast as well. Tried for lunge. Didn't work. Nice and Verstappen exchanging fastest laps out at the front. The pressure's still on up there. Here we go then on lap 12 into 13. Carlos Sainz being chased down by his teammate and Max Verstappen. He's just managing to hold them off going into the first turn. And there's still 1, 2, 3, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari. Max Verstappen having a look now. Is he going to be able to get side by side? Yes, he does. And he just gets in front of Carlos Sainz and takes the lead of the Grand Prix. And now Sainz looks like he could be under threat from his teammate as well. Charles Leclerc looking like he could make a move here. Oh, Carlos Sainz has been leading the race for 12 laps. And then going side by side, Charles Leclerc outbrakes his teammate. He's dropped from the lead to third. And now Charles Leclerc has a lap and a bit to try and catch Max Verstappen. Here comes Max Verstappen then, closely followed by Charles Leclerc. Is he going to be able to get across the line and win the Miami Grand Prix? It looks like it. Max Verstappen wins for Red Bull in front of Charles Leclerc. That's a great win for Red Bull, who look like they might be second best to Ferrari this weekend. But they pulled it out. And won.
Less than 1 lap of fuel left now. The tank's pretty much empty.
Show. Max Verstappen wins the Grand Prix. Just outside the points. Frustrating. Didn't quite have enough in the car today to get the point.
Here we are then, a phenomenal Miami Grand Prix, and what a great show of skill from our race winners today. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Alright, so Max Verstappen wins the race, and Charles Leclerc less than a second behind him. Carlos Sainz dropping from pole down to third, so it's a Ferrari double podium. George Russell, best of the Mercedes, he comes home fourth. That's a solid result for him. Perez fifth in the other Red Bull, so not quite as strong as some of the early races in the season from him, but still getting a decent clutch of points for the team. Ocon and Alonso, Norris and Ricciardo all occupying sort of those outside, what would normally be, you'd expect Hamilton to be in sixth, and maybe the Alpines and the McLarens in that sort of like 7th to 10th bracket. But bit of a mix-up today because Hamilton got caught a bit further down. As you can see, he's got up to 14th, but not enough. He was way out of position, so I think he got quite out in qualifying and had to work his way up from there. Magnussen had a great race for Haas. That's a couple of points for them. That's really important. We tried to hold them back at the start, Magnussen and Ricciardo, but we couldn't. We didn't have the speed on the straight, which we thought we would with the Ferrari engine, but I think maybe the Haas has got a bit more of a development there. So it was a shame, but we come home 11th. Gasly 12th. He stuck with us for most of the race. There was a bit of a gap back to Guan Yu Zhou, and then Sonoda and Stroll leading in Piastri. So he dropped a place from the grid. Not fantastic. Then you've got Albon, Vettel, Schumacher, Latifi, Valtteri Bottas set the fastest time, but did not finish the race. So that's interesting. So no extra point because he couldn't claim it, being as he was at the back and didn't finish. You have to be in the top 10 to get that extra point. So I don't know what happened there. Weird. In terms of the championship, look at that, that's pretty tight, isn't it? Sainz, 94 points. Charles Leclerc, 2 further back. Perez, and then Verstappen, who's had a bad couple of races, with this win has put himself back up into the top 4. Mercedes best of the rest, and we're sitting in 9th. There's a couple of decent points finishes from the first couple of races. 7th for us in the Constructors. Ferrari lead in Red Bull at the top. We've got to keep an eye on Haas because that's our main battle. AlphaTauri and Haas really. So all in all, I'd have to say on average that's quite a positive weekend because we nearly got points. I didn't expect us to go so well here, but that wasn't too bad. So we'll take away the positives, we'll work on the car, and then we'll try and see how we can get on to the next race and plumb everything into probably, I want to say the engine, but I don't know, maybe I should do a bit more of the aero and the chassis. We need to get that gearbox changed as well, because that was on its last legs. And that'll pretty much do it for this Grand Prix weekend in Miami. If you enjoyed the video, leave a little thumbs up, a little likey poos, subscribe if you haven't already for more JDM racing action, or wrestling, whichever, pick your poison. There's plenty of both coming in the coming weeks. So take care, thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.